The night before Jesus was betrayed, he did something no rabbi, no master, no king would ever do. He knelt down and began to wash the dirty feet of his followers. But why would the Son of God do something so low? This wasn't kindness for the cameras. This was intentional, and it carries a meaning that most people completely miss. When you understand who was in that room, what feet meant in that culture, and what Jesus was actually saying, this story will never look the same again. Stay with me. Let's go back to the night of Passover. Jerusalem is crowded. The atmosphere is tense. The Pharisees are already planning to kill Jesus. Judas has made his deal with the chief priests. In just a few hours, soldiers will arrive in the darkness with torches. Jesus knows all of this. John 13:1 says, Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. He knows what is about to happen, every detail. Yet he gathers his disciples in an upper room for one last meal. Now imagine the scene. 12 men sit together. Their feet are dirty from walking the dusty roads. In those days, the streets of Jerusalem were filled with dust, animal waste, and dirt from the many Passover visitors. Feet were seen as the dirtiest part of the body. In Jewish homes, when a guest arrived, the lowest servant in the house would wash their feet. Not just any servant, the one at the very bottom. The Talmud, the Jewish book of law and tradition, made that clear. Even disciples who served their rabbis were not expected to do this. They could cook, clean, and help in many ways, but washing feet was considered too low. It was work meant only for servants. So when Jesus, their rabbi, their Lord, their master, takes a basin and a towel, the room falls silent. Before we go any further, I want to know something. If you were in that room and Jesus stood up, picked up that basin, and walked toward you, what would you do? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Would you let him? Would you pull your feet back like Peter? Or would you be too stunned to even move? Because your answer might reveal more about how you see yourself before God than you realize. As you type your answer, let's get to Peter, because his reaction is about to teach us something powerful. In John 13:6, Jesus comes to Simon Peter, and Peter responds the way he often does. He speaks quickly. Lord, are you going to wash my feet? He's not being disrespectful. He's trying to protect Jesus. In his mind, this is not right. The Son of God should not kneel like a servant to wash anyone's feet. Jesus answers him, You don't understand what I'm doing now, but you will understand later. But Peter refuses. No, you will never wash my feet. This never is very strong. Peter isn't unsure, he is completely against it. Then Jesus says something that stops him. If I don't wash you, you have no part with me. That changes everything. Peter immediately responds, Then Lord, don't just wash my feet, wash my hands and my head too. That's Peter. He goes from one extreme to another in a moment. But Jesus gently corrects him. Anyone who has already bathed only needs to have their feet washed. The rest of the body is clean. Now Jesus is speaking about more than physical dirt. He is talking about something deeper, about being made clean, belonging to him, and the need to keep coming back to him even after being affected by the world. Then Jesus says something that changes the atmosphere in the room. And you are clean, but not all of you. Judas is sitting there, and Jesus still washes his feet. Take a moment to think about that. After Jesus finishes, he puts his robe back on, returns to his place, and asks them, Do you understand what I have done for you? Then he says something that reorganizes everything. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. Here is the deeper meaning many people miss. In the ancient Near East, kings did not kneel. Gods were not seen as servants. Power always moved downward. The strong gave orders, the weak obeyed, and the great were lifted high while the low were ignored. But Jesus changes that. He introduces something completely different, a way of living where the highest chooses to go low. This is not weakness, it is a deliberate choice. Later, Paul explains this in Philippians chapter 2. He says that even though Jesus is God, he did not hold on to his position. Instead, he made himself nothing and took the place of a servant. So when Jesus washes his disciples' feet, it is more than an act of kindness. It is a picture of the whole message of the gospel. Think about it this way. Jesus would soon remove his robe again, but this time at the cross. He would be brought low again, but this time under the weight of sin. And he would take what is unclean, not just dust on feet, but human sin, shame, guilt, and betrayal, and wash it away. Not with water, but with his own blood. The basin and towel in that upper room were pointing forward to the cross. But there is still more to understand. In Jewish culture, sharing a meal meant covenant. It meant peace, trust, relationship. To eat with someone was sacred, and Judas is reclining at this table. He has been handed bread dipped in the dish by Jesus himself, a sign of honor. And his feet have been cleaned by the hands of the one he will betray for 30 pieces of silver. This is not passive. This is not Jesus being unaware. John 13:11 makes it clear. He knew who was going to betray him. So why would Jesus serve his betrayer? Because the foot washing is not about the worthiness of the one being washed. It never was. It is about the nature of the one doing the washing. This is the message for every person watching this right now who feels too dirty, too far gone, too ashamed to come back. If Jesus washed the feet of Judas, not out of ignorance, but out of love, then no one is beyond the reach of his grace. The only difference between Judas and Peter is not what Jesus offered them. The difference is what they did with their guilt afterward. And now Jesus brings it home. He doesn't sit back down and wait for applause. He doesn't ask them what they thought. He gives them direct instruction. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Don't just admire this. Do it. Now, this isn't only about washing feet in a church service, though many traditions do practice that, and there's real power in it. Jesus is talking about something bigger. He's redefining what it means to be great. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Matthew 20:26. In God's kingdom, greatness doesn't work the way the world thinks it does. You don't rise by pushing people down. You rise by kneeling before them. You don't use your position to get things from people. You use it to give. This was a complete shock to the Roman world. Early Romans watched the church and didn't know what to make of it. How do you follow a God who died for people? How do you respect leaders who call themselves servants? How do you explain wealthy people eating at the same table as slaves? It made no sense to them. Because it was unlike anything the world had ever seen. The foot washing in John 13 is not a small detail. It is a picture of everything the gospel is about. And here's the last thing I want you to understand before we close. Humility is not weakness. It is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is knowing exactly who you are and being so settled in it, you don't need anyone to bow to you. You are free enough to bow to them. That's not small, that's Christ-like. The night before Jesus was crucified, he could have done anything. He could have called down angels. He could have escaped. He could have preached one last great sermon that would echo through the centuries. Instead, he picked up a towel. He knelt in front of his confused disciples, his impulsive friend, and his approaching betrayer, and he served them. Because he wanted them, and he wants you, to understand something that no amount of theological explanation can fully capture. His love is not conditioned on your cleanliness. He meets you where you are. Tired, dirty, uncertain, broken, even mid-betrayal. He kneels down, he picks up the basin, and he says, "You belong to me." That's the hidden meaning in John 13. Not just humility, not just a lesson in servant leadership. It's a picture of a God who refuses to let shame have the last word. If this message moved you, Share it with someone who needs to know they are not too far from His grace. Comment, "I will follow Jesus." And if you want to go deeper into the Gospel of John, subscribe. We're just getting started. Shalom.